Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. We got a really cool build today. What we have here is a Baja bone shaker. Now, people love bone shakers, and this is something that's only been out a short time period, but it's a pretty cool casting. But you know, I look at the wheels and I say, those wheels kind of suck. So we're going to go through and we're going to do a wheel swap on this bad boy. We got a lot of areas that we can detail up and highlight up, like the exhaust pipes and the lights on top of the car, etc. And we're going to go through and detail this bad boy up and have some fun with it. So go ahead, grab your favorite adult beverage, and if you don't drink adult beverage, if you got a coffee or a Coke or a water or whatever, you can still join in. Sit back and relax, and let's have some fun with today's build. So now we're going to go ahead and drill out the post. Now, whenever I'm drilling out the post, I always start out with a 1/16 inch drill bit. This is just a preparatory step in order for me to remove the mushroom off the bottom of the post. And I'll show you what I mean by that, okay? So, when you're drilling into the car and you're using that 1/16 inch bit, you're removing a small amount of metal around the base of the mushroom that holds the car onto the base. And you're prepping that up so when you drill in with the bigger drill bit, it doesn't have to remove as much metal in order for you to be able to drill into the post to hold the screw. So the more metal you have in the post, the more that the screw is going to be able to hold onto that post when you drill it out and tap it out. And there's today's tip from your Uncle Paulie. So like I said, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill for about 5 seconds into these posts with this 3/16 inch drill bit. That should be just about enough, because all you're trying to do is take away a little bit of that metal in the beginning. Now I'm going to take this 9/64 drill bit and I'm going to take out that little mushroom post on the end. Here I go extremely slow because all you're trying to do is snap off that ring that holds the base onto the body. So right here, like I say, go extremely slow and it'll dig into that mushroom cap. Then start wiggling it back and forth, and there you go. There's that little ring that holds the base onto the body. Flip the car around and do the same thing to the other side. And see how that just pops that right off? This will allow you to have the maximum amount of metal on the post to be able to drill into it to put your screw into. This tip right here is worth its weight in gold. Look how easy that comes off. I didn't even need a screwdriver to take that apart. Now the next step we're going to do here is we're going to take a flat file and we're going to file off the burrs on the end of the post where we just removed the mushroom cap. This also allows the base not to stick to the body when you go to put them together. So it's just a nice cleanup step that I like to do personally. That's looking pretty good. We're going to use 2-56 screws here since this is a modern casting, and they're very long posts, so we're going to use a 3/16 inch long screw. Easy for me to say, and I haven't even had an adult beverage yet. Now the shorter ones, the 1/8 inch, these are for shorter posts, so I have both on hand if I need them. Now we need to go ahead and change out the drill bit from the 1/16 inch and use this 5-64. And that's the drill bit you're going to use in order to put in the 2-56 screws. I've already drilled out the posts. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to tap these posts out. And again, we're going to be putting in 2-56 screws. So we're going to be using a 2-56 tap. Now I only put oil in one part of the post, or one of the posts, and the reason is because there's always enough residual left over in order for you to tap the second post. Look how quickly that tap bites into the post there. These taps are extremely sharp and they cut very well. Go ahead and screw that in until it bottoms out or until you feel resistance, because you don't want to push too hard. Back it out, clean off the excess metal, the shavings off the end of the tap, and then go ahead and do your second post. Again, there's enough oil residual on there to where you shouldn't have to put oil in each post, but that's definitely up to your own discretion. Turn it until it bottoms out or you feel resistance, and then go ahead and back it out. That's excellent. Now it's time to go ahead and put some screws in. Now I always do this step just to make sure that the screws fit properly, or sometimes you drill out a little bit too much, or your drill bit kind of goes in at an angle. You may have to squeeze the end of the drill of the post in order for the screw to fit. Here I'm using a T5 screwdriver in order to put these screws in. And you can get these at Ace Hardware, you can get them at Lowe's, you can get them online, but you can get them at my Amazon Marketplace page also, which is in the description. So check out my Amazon Marketplace page. There's a lot of things there that you can get for your hobby that you don't have to search for. That fits in really good. Sorry for the angle there, you should be able to see it. There we go. That looks awesome. Let's go ahead and move on. Now we're going to go ahead and prep up the wheels. Like I said, I'm not too crazy about these plastic 4-wheel drive or 4x4 wheels, so we're going to go ahead and take those out. I use my screwdriver to widen up the areas where the axle is going to go into, so when I put the new axles in, it's going to fit really well. Now here I've got these beautiful Samed wheels. Now this rim combination with the yellow print on the wheels is a brand new product from Samed Wheels. The other new tire they got here is this one that looks like it's got mud on it already. But check out all the product at Samed Wheels at www.samedwheels.com. They got a lot of great stuff for your custom builds, and they got more and more and more products coming in the near future. So please check them out. Now, the reason the axles are so long on some of these wheel combinations is because you can't cover all the vehicles that these wheels will fit. So it gives you the opportunity to trim that axle down to make it fit to the custom that you're doing, or the custom that you're working on. So we're going to cut off approximately that much axle, and then we're going to pinch the end of it. So just, you can mark it with a marker, but that's about a rough guesstimate of how much you need to cut off. I put my thumb over the other end of the axle so it doesn't go flying across the room, and I cut off enough axle material in order for it to fit on the vehicle that you're working on. Look away from this when you cut it, because you don't want that thing to fly in your eyes. It will fly across the room, so make sure you're wearing your safety glasses. All right, we got that piece. Now, we're going to take these fence pliers and we're going to squeeze the very end of the axle and pinch it so the wheel will not come off in the future. Go ahead and squeeze it as hard as you can. And there it is. Now it does have a little bit of a sharp, rough edge on it, so I'll come in with the file and I'll file that down to make sure I don't cut myself, because inevitably I will. You could even go a little farther if you wanted to. That's looking good. Let's go ahead and test it. And that fits perfectly. Let's go ahead and move on. I've already cut both sets of wheels, so now we're going to do the detailing. Here I've got some Tamiya acrylic paint, and I want to highlight the lights and the tail lights on the vehicle. We're going to go over the tire and make that look good. And when you're doing a car job like this, the more detail you do, the better it's definitely going to look. But you can go too far. Here's just a few little odds and ends we're going to do here, and that looks pretty good. Now these are acrylic paints from Tamiya, so you're going to need some lacquer thinner in order to clean the brush out when you're done. Now one of the things I have learned is if you're putting colors on a car like this, always start with the lighter color. Now if you were using white, you would do white first. Yellow is the first lightest color, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the yellow. Now I do white later on because I changed my mind, but I use a different paintbrush too. But use your lighter color first, because when you go back in and paint something else with a darker color, the darker color will cover up the paint that you used previously. If you use a dark color first, it'll muddy into the color that you put in second, which is the lighter color, and it'll muddy it up. So that's another tip from Uncle Paulie. Here we're going to use flat black from Tamiya to paint the tire on the back, the spare tire. Had it all mixed up. Now I'm just going to grab a little bit out of the cap, and we're going to go ahead and paint up that tire. Try not to have too much paint on the paintbrush, because if you do, it'll leach down into other crevices and stuff like that, and you'll have to clean it up like I just did right there. But I did clean it up with a Q-tip. There's the lights painted, and there's the tire painted. We got a few other areas that we're going to get into though, but that looks pretty darn awesome. I also painted into the tire, so when you put the body back together with the interior, it covers it up really well. Here's some red for these taillights on the back, and I'm going to use this little makeup swab. Now you can find these makeup swabs at Hobby Lobby, or as I like to call it, Robbie Lobby. They got a lot of great products, but they charge you an arm and a leg for those things. Check out my Amazon Marketplace page. Like I said, I've got all these things that I've already found for you, and for the same price you pay for 10, I got 500. So definitely will save you a ton of money. Here I decided to paint the headlights in the front white. I'm using another one of these swabs, and I'm also going to be using some glue to highlight the skull from the bone shaker, and you'll see here in a moment. Sorry for my hand being in the way there. But that's taken care of. Now I'm going to take this toothpick and I'm going to wet the end of it. I've already put a couple of drops of glue into the eye sockets of the skeleton, or the skull, and I use the wet toothpick to pick up the little sequin. Now these are black sequins, and they come in a small package that you can get at Joann Fabrics, or again, here you go, my Amazon Marketplace page. I've done all the research for you folks, so you don't have to search for this stuff. You just go to my Amazon Marketplace page, and the link is in the description, and they're already there for you, so you don't have to do any searching. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, and here's how that turned out. Like I said, I used these little black sequins to highlight the skull with the eye sockets. Now I could go in and paint the interior and stuff, but what I did here is I used this Sharpie paint pen and I filled in the bottom or the inside of the exhaust. Now this is what we started with. Here's the body of the car. We highlighted the lights and the tire in the back. We put those beautiful Samed wheels on for the tire swap. That turned out excellent. Here's the interior with the red lights highlighted in the back and the skull in the front. Let's put it together and have our reveal.
Someone is being exhumed.
And here's what we started with. This Hot Wheels Baja bone shaker. Now this is a pretty cool casting, but like I said, I wasn't too pleased with the tires and everything, and Samed Wheels has everything you need in order to turn a mediocre car into an absolutely cool custom. We took the car apart, we did some detailing on the body, we changed out the wheels and put some fantastic new wheels on there, and then we put it all back together. And this is just a simple custom, and like I always tell you folks, you can do this. Follow the videos that I put out, and there's a lot of other folks out there in the YouTube community that do these die-cast builds too. Check out Shorter's Die-Cast Customs. Check out Kuda's Die-Cast Customs. You got Jim Silva, you've got Keith at Outlaw Speed Shop, and Xavier at Die-Cast Show Customs. They put out a fantastic video, so check them out. And this is what we got to. Look at how excellent this Resto Custom turned out. Like I said, we put those beautiful Samed wheels on there. We detailed up the lights. We detailed up the skull in the front. We detailed the exhaust pipes. We detailed the lights in the back. This is fantastic, and like I always say again, you can do this too. If you have any questions, just please leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you as best as I can. But this is a lot of fun, and there's so many different customs that you can do with all the main lines that are on the shelves at Walmart and Target, etc. So please get yourself some cars, get your drill going, get your paint going, and have some fun with us. And don't forget having that adult beverage while you watch my videos. And if it's morning time, watch the video with your coffee, and then watch it again in the evening with that adult beverage. Thank you for joining me today on Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. I've got a whole bunch more videos coming up, and I'm getting really close to 8,000 subscribers. And if you subscribe to me, that would be fantastic. What a great day and a lot of fun doing this custom. Thanks for joining me here today again, and cheers.